Hey, everybody, it's Jason Rockwood, General Manager of VeChain North America. Recently, we did a press release announcement with OrionOne, and I wanted to come online and spend some time today talking with Tommy Stephenson, the CEO of OrionOne. Wanted to spend some time speaking with him about what the partnership means for VeChain, for OrionOne, and for all of the VeChain holders out there. Thanks for taking a moment to enjoy the show with us. The format's going to be pretty informal. I'm going to be asking some questions of Tommy, and he'll ask some questions of me. And between the two of us, hopefully you'll learn a thing or two about VeChain and OrionOne that you didn't know before. So Tommy, listen, man, thank you for coming on with us today. Why don't you just kick us off with a little bit of a bio on you and some background information on OrionOne for those who don't know about you?
Absolutely. And Jason, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time today as well. It's been a sincere pleasure working with you and the rest of the VeChain team on all the great things that we've done together. Real quick, as far as a background about us, we stem from a 23-year-old software development agency, building enterprise solutions for a lot of the Fortune 500 companies and then all the way down to small to medium-sized businesses. And we focus extensively on either custom software development or integrations into third-party systems. And what led us down the path of supply chain and traceability was the fact that we were doing integrations into these large-scale systems and really identifying the gaps that were limiting those companies from being able to scale and really maximize the technology that they had invested in. In addition to that, we also saw that there was a portion of the industry that was very underserved as it pertains to SaaS solutions and affordability pertaining to, supply chain management, document management, etc. And so we started identifying the features, looked at what we could do from a platform perspective, and embarked on building OrionOne.
Yeah, Tommy, we had such a fun time right from the get-go. Why don't you share with the audience like how we met and what the experience has been like working together so far?
The experience has been fantastic. The way that we got connected, I simply reached out to VeChain Foundation and was connected to yourself, and we set out to do a one hour meeting, and that 1 hour quickly turned into 2 hours where we were really starting to identify, the things that each of our platforms and our organizations bring to the table. And we quickly realized that this was a partnership that needed to occur. Us really serving as the front end for VeChain as it pertains to supply chain management and logistics management, and even all the way down to inventory and things like this, as well as what VeChain provides from a back-end perspective and the underpinnings for what we truly needed from the blockchain side of things. It's been fantastic working with you guys because you made it so easy to understand not only the implementation requirements and things like this, but also the capabilities that VeChain brings to the table by way of either being, low cost, extremely, from an uptime perspective, something that our customers could rely on. And so for us, it became a no-brainer that we integrate. But 100%, we can't thank you guys enough for the way that you've treated us as a partner. And we're very excited to be a value-added reseller, the first in North America for VeChain, specifically around supply chain and traceability.
Yeah, agreed, Tommy. It was definitely a positive. It just felt like simpatico right from the get-go. And I think that a lot of it has to do with just similar philosophies in terms of how we're thinking about the value that blockchain can bring to enterprises. I just think that given our background in logistics and supply chain, you guys were solving similar problems. The fact that you've had previous experience with blockchain, Hyperledger, and Ethereum before VeChain gave me a lot of confidence that you understood the challenges of blockchain. You weren't expecting blockchain to be a panacea, but rather you understood the specific way that it could make a difference for your business and by extension for your clients. And I think it really kicked off the relationship on a really positive note. And it's great to see things coming to fruition to where they are now.
It absolutely is. And, I really appreciate you mentioning the fact that we share similar philosophies in supply chain management, and also just similar philosophies in where the power of blockchain really comes into play when we're talking about supply chain management and the logistics element. A lot of our customers who have come to us requesting blockchain integration really are, they want to harness the power of blockchain, but they're not sure how to roll that into their existing technology stack. And so for us, it's very critical that our platform, does not require anybody to pull out their existing technology stack, but also that we embed ourselves or ingrain ourselves in their existing processes. And then that allows us to map into what the blockchain offers, especially with VeChain when we're talking about speed, uptime, performance, etc. In addition to sharing similar philosophies, we also look at how quickly can we turn on and off features or extend the capabilities of OrionOne utilizing our integration smart hub, which we'll touch on here in a bit. But with working with VeChain, it's been really easy to integrate that entire offering into our solution so that it's really plug and play. Once somebody starts up OrionOne and sets up an account with us, we help them understand the capabilities of VeChain, all the while setting them up with an integration so that they can either ride on the rails of our systems and our smart contract with VeChain, or they can create their own smart contract and ride on the rails of their own. But again, you've made it extremely easy and pleasant to go ahead and make that integration occur.
Yeah, it's been a good time. And you talk about getting to know your business and, as part of that initial stage of the relationship. And I think that what gave me so much confidence was not only the experience that you've had in using blockchain in the past, but just your rich track record, your client portfolio, the use cases that you've initiated with clients in the past, your excellent software, the user experience and the whole logic of your product really impressed me. And also not only the quality of your team and the history that you've all had with each other working together for 10, 15 years in some cases, but also just the ability to service large enterprise clients. We often meet with a lot of technology companies that are smaller. They have good ideas. They have a good understanding of blockchain and they really get the tech, but they just don't have the ability to service at scale. And I think that that's where OrionOne really differentiated itself. And it's one of the things that gave me a lot of confidence moving forward.
Thank you for that compliment, Jason. And as you know, we really pride ourselves on the culture that we offer inside of our organization. Coming from the service background and being able to service customers like Microsoft, Mercedes-Benz, etc., and being fortunate enough to see the underside of those businesses, it gives us the opportunity to really understand what the needs of the client are and how we go about facilitating and managing those accounts. So, we have a full service customer support team alongside with our technical team that come in, assess what the client needs. And that really, I think, gave us a leg up as to, how we could start distributing and incorporating our SaaS platform inside of their organization. So, that was critical for us. I think the other side of what we pride ourselves on is the ability to understand what technologies are out there that we can integrate with in order to make their solution as empowered as possible. So we do not require our customers to rip out any of their existing tech stack. That's not a good way to do business. Instead, we really understand their problems, and then utilizing OrionOne, we can solve for those.
Yeah, Tommy. So, you're the one that reached out to us, right? I mean, no offense, but I definitely did not have you on my radar. Although I'm always looking for clients and partners like OrionOne, I didn't have you on my radar. And then one day I get a phone call from you. And like you said, we spoke at length, but what was it that had you reach out to us? What was it about VeChain that drew you to VeChain?
No offense taken at all on not hearing about OrionOne. We're a brand new startup as it pertains to the SaaS space. And so for us, when we were reaching out to partners and had reached out to VeChain, I think, it's good to note that we were an unknown company and are just getting started with the clients that we're onboarding. And again, we've got great names that we're supporting currently, and they're going to continue to grow. But I think that just speaks to the way in which VeChain offers up services and solutions to their partners. You know, you guys really embraced us and identified the fact that our feature sets were very compatible with what VeChain did not offer as it pertains to the usability in the front end of what some of the customer needs are that you guys speak with. So I think, you know, for us, what caused us to reach out was the fact that you guys had a fantastic name in the enterprise. Your client roster is fantastic. And then you also had the DNVGL relationship. And 100%, we look at that organization as an awesome company to mirror. And we saw that, you know, if that was the type of capabilities and the folks that VeChain is working with, that's exactly who we want to work with. And again, also knowing that you guys had evolved from a Ethereum-based solution and a token to building your own platform specifically to answer a lot of the questions and issues that were being seen in supply chain really gave us throttled us to reach out to you and allow us to push forward to see if we can become VeChain partners. And again, you guys made it super easy. You know, the affordability, the onboarding factor, etc. Those were critical for us to be able to offer up VeChain as a blockchain solution in our platform, and then respectively provide that to our clients as a solution to say, hey, you're using OrionOne. I think now, because you've been asking about blockchain so much, you should consider adopting VeChain, of which we make turnkey, and it's affordable. Gas prices are low, but also the reliability factor was critical.
What I love about working with OrionOne is that while VeChain is really good at the infrastructure, you are a great complement at the application layer. You know, we wanted to partner with OrionOne because we really felt like the way that you were thinking about logistics and the way that you designed your software to meet the needs of your logistics customers, it was a great complement to us. We offer both an infrastructure layer and an application layer in our technology product called Toolchain. So Toolchain includes both a back-end infrastructure layer and a front-end traceability solution. The capabilities of OrionOne go far and away beyond what we offer out of the box. And I think that OrionOne is uniquely positioned to take a sophisticated application layer that you yourselves have built, particularly for the needs of your customers, but then to plug in and to sort of supercharge that software using VeChain's infrastructure. And I love that match where we're providing a back-end capability that complements your front end. And I think that that's the kind of match that makes this relationship particularly powerful.
I would agree. You know, we've put a lot of effort into maximizing how rapidly we could onboard our clients using our integration smart hub. And really what that integration smart hub allows folks to do is come in, and if they want to select to use VeChain, they just toggle a switch, decide if they want to use the production or the sandbox environment. And then also during the process of creating a shipment, they get to choose what milestones throughout the entire process they want to have stored on chain, so that you're maximizing your spend with VeChain, and we're giving them full control as to not only the KPIs that they store on chain, but some of the other items like document storage, hash records pointing to some of the assets that might be kept within our system from a centralization perspective that folks might need rapidly, when they're processing shipments and tracking orders. So again, leveraging VeChain, number one, first and foremost from its name perspective, but the affordability factor and just the ease of making VeChain turnkey was our main mission when doing our integration.
Yeah, Tommy, I think that's a great sort of segue into some of your product features. I mean, probably the people watching this are pretty familiar with VeChain already. It would be awesome to just kind of hear more about the specific functionalities of OrionOne that really make it stand out from your competitors.
So we focus on three core components inside of our application: the transparency and visibility aspect, the collaboration aspect, And then the performance optimization, how can I streamline my workflow to maximize my inbound and outbound? And so within our system, we created a full location manager and an organization manager that allows you to take a lot of control about the users that you want accessing the system, etc. But then outside of that, we really built in a ton of features around workflow management and the processes there. So you can come in, you can manage your inventory inside of our system, not like an ERP. You know, those companies do those processes very well, but enough for us to be able to integrate with those systems. So if you're an SAP user or an Oracle user, that we can speak a common language when referencing those inventory items inside of your organization. And again, that's where we talk about that empowering the gaps. You know, we come in and help solve those challenges that a company might have when they're looking to solve, you know, how can I utilize my existing tech stack and still overcome these hurdles? So that's first and foremost. Then we have features all around the shipment management. So creating a shipment is extremely easy. You can create a ton of shipments. You can duplicate shipments in lanes that your trucking company or your carrier partners might be running. And then also managing charges, having detailed insights into the inventory. So it makes it a lot easier for you to create shipments if you so chose. But our system's also flexible enough that if you're a freight forwarder, a trucking company, a carrier partner, or a broker, or a manufacturer and a distributor, you're able to all get into the system and collaborate and work alongside one another. Think of us like Asana for supply chain. And inside of that, as I mentioned earlier, our integration smart hub, you know, we have a ton of creature comforts in there. For example, we are integrated with SaferWatch. So if you need the background or history about some of the trucking companies to make sure they're actually trucking companies and they're not brokers, are they insured, etc. We also integrate into those systems. Right now we're finalizing a Freight Friends integration. We do have other integrations into systems for EDI support and JSON support and other feed types that companies might be looking to consume in their existing infrastructure. In addition to that, we also have a mobile companion solution that allows truck drivers, for example, to authenticate when they take possession of the shipment and then be able to have rapid access to phone numbers, the destination details, access to understand what the inventory is that they're carrying, and then also rapid access to the documents that are associated to that shipment. That makes it very easy if they're running late. If they're having issues, they can just key in the issue real fast, fat thumb it, the way that we say it internally. But we make it extremely easy for everybody to collaborate and coincide in one location. And finally, we have a detailed reporting suite that allows you to go back through and make sure that, you know, you're looking at your KPIs the right way, that you're able to have rapid access to the high-level details so that stakeholders can also authenticate and get access to that information without having to have somebody pull reports on their behalf. All in all, we sought out to make it super easy for people to adopt our technology and get up and running in 24 hours so that they can start managing their shipments in our system to hopefully generate more revenue and streamline a lot of their operations.
Yeah, I particularly appreciate that you often refer to your software as being like Asana for logistics. And I think that that's an important differentiator to call out for folks at home that are familiar with VeChain and our impact in supply chain and logistics. You know, most of what we do with our SaaS layer is focused on product traceability, right? So we're looking at a food product, or we're looking at an article of clothing, for example, and we're providing a really detailed way of collecting information about that product. And then making that information available to consumers, usually through scanning a QR code and then retrieving that information. But what I love about OrionOne is the way that it operates as a multi-party environment in which these different stakeholders can collaborate and really establish a workflow for the movement of those products. So it's not necessarily specifically product traceability that you guys are doing, but more like coordinating all the various pieces of an entire supply chain. And that level of sophistication is what really impressed me and made me really excited to want to work with you guys.
Thank you for that, Jason. And we spent a lot of time focusing on what is the best way to optimize the supply chain using technology. Again, going back to some of the problems that we had seen in this space that gave us the interest to kind of pursue building the platform, had to do with becoming a centralized smart hub, is how we call it, for all of the organizations that work within the supply chain and logistics processes. So, the other side of that is, if you were going to adopt SAP as an example, it's very difficult for a small 5-truck organization to go ahead and afford that, And so our mission was, how can we make it feature packed and as rich as possible to answer the needs of the large scale enterprise, but also be simple and easy to adopt and also extremely affordable for the folks that are running those small to medium sized organizations. And for us, that was, the first and foremost item to try and solve in order to build a network where everybody is collaborating. So, once you get everybody in one central system and they're starting to speak the same language, it begins to eliminate and break down the issue areas that most folks are seeing when they're complaining about their supply chain challenges.
VeChain actually got its start from our CEO, Sunny Liu, who was working as the chief information officer for LVMH Asia. And, he had this idea for using blockchain and supply chain, using blockchain in a supply chain instance. And when he looked at Ethereum, he didn't feel that it was enterprise worthy, right? And so the VeChain project was started to bring all the benefits of blockchain, i.e. immutability, record keeping, the ability to sign information and data sets, using all of that, plus the security of decentralization, I'd add, but making all of that friendly for an enterprise. That's been our MO from day one. There's a lot of discussion about blockchain in general, but the needs of an enterprise are very specific. Enterprises have specific requirements. They think the solution needs to be low cost. It needs to be easy to implement. It needs to be easily manageable from a governance perspective. Fully decentralized systems like Ethereum, they don't have the governance that enterprises require. And so, we really have tried to look at all the different ways that blockchain can add value, but to do it in a way that's enterprise friendly. And that's sort of, I think, the reason why VeChain has gotten so much enterprise adoption to date. When it comes to the actual benefits of blockchain for the enterprise, from our perspective, we would see it in, I like to talk about it in terms of something called data notarization. And what I mean by notarization is that you're taking information that's collected and you're timestamping it with very specific serialization that is coming from the cryptography of the blockchain. So you're able to identify the actors that are uploading information. What by signing the data, you can see what was actually posted to the chain. And then the timestamping of who did what at what time and place. And having a record of this doesn't necessarily prove the truth of what was said, right? It's like a notary. When you go to a notary, the notary doesn't prove whether what is said or declared is true or false. They look at your ID. They record the date and time of the notarization, right? They're providing a timestamp that a certain person said a certain thing at a certain place in time. This is very important. I mean, blockchain is a ledger going back, thousands of years, right? But ledgers are not the only thing. You've got ledgers, you've got cryptography, and notarization. The Romans invented notarization as well. And so notarization is a core part of financial transactions and how the world does business. And I think that it's an undersung quality that VeChain has really nailed. And so when you have a software like OrionOne that's collecting data from so many different places in a supply chain with numerous actors, you want to make sure that you're keeping everybody honest. And I think that taking all of the superior data collection from OrionOne and then combining that with VeChain's ability to notarize that data, it makes that the OrionOne system more robust, provides that immutability, provides the data trail of notarization. It's going to keep everybody honest. It's going to help with dispute resolution. It's going to create efficiencies in the transfer of items across the chain, supply chain. It just is going to provide a lot of efficiencies and cost savings and security enhancements that I think are really the foundation of why blockchain and supply chain are such good bedfellows.
Yeah, well said, Jason. Going back to those 3 pillars I mentioned earlier, transparency is key. And I think the only way that you can provide transparency to all of the actors, as you stated, in the supply chain, is to have systems in place that allow you to share those things. And again, if you approach it from the perspective of collaboration, and less about policing, I think that's a lot more acceptable to the folks that are working alongside you as partners. And I think it also provides, to your point earlier as well, a sense of security, like I am definitely working with the organization that I want to. And we've seen the small businesses that adopt our systems, that go after the larger scale lanes and things like this, especially on the trucking side. They're the ones that are reaping the benefits the most, because to their partners, they are showing that, hey, we are taking an approach here that is far more sophisticated than even some of the bigger dogs out there in order to best handle your shipments and ensure that you can understand the value that we're bringing from a traceability and a visibility perspective. And so having everybody being able to log in and collaborate, and again, doesn't matter the scale or the size of your business. I mean, if you're a one-person company, you can be using Orion today and adopt VeChain, making you that much more sophisticated and empowering your clients to feel more confident in the way in which you're managing and handling their shipments. And again, a lot of folks have won their business because they show OrionOne as their system of choice for managing their core shipments.
Tommy, one of the things that I absolutely loved about the integration between our 2 systems was the turnkey nature of setting up your own smart contract on the VeChain blockchain. Could you tell the folks at home a little bit more about that functionality and why it's so cool?
Absolutely. So, as you know, Jason, we spoke earlier about the integration smart hub, and it's one of the key features for our platform as far as when folks are talking about Web3 and what that really means in the enterprise. There's not a lot of systems that actually deliver on that. It's the same thing with track and trace. A lot of people say track and trace, but really all they're doing is they're tracking. They're not actually tracing back. So for us, with the capabilities here and what we were talking about from the integration smart hub factor, what this does is this allows folks to come in and really use our platform as their gateway into the blockchain. So they can come in, they can select either our production environment or a sandbox environment and utilize our smart contract, making it very seamless for them. They can turn it on, and then all we do is we settle up at the end of the month for how much data they've consumed or how much transactions they've written on chain. And that's great for folks that just want to jump in and start using the blockchain. For the folks that want more flexibility, which we're keen on, they can go ahead. We help them set up their own relationship with VeChain. We help them understand what a smart contract is. And then once they're done setting that up, it's super seamless. They just give us the contract address, or they themselves can control it, key that in. And then again, everything from there is turnkey. They're able to start creating shipments. And then during that process, they actually select, please store this on the blockchain. And when you do, store it again, either in the sandbox environment if you're testing out the shipments and just getting started with Orion, or throw this into production. And then that way everybody can see that on mainnet. Again, you're talking about time savings and cost savings are both factors. That's not to say that setting up your own VeChain instance takes a ton of time, but if you wanted to just get started and ride on the rails of our contract, we make that extremely easy.
You mentioned being a VAR for VeChain, and I just wanted to take a second to say a little bit more about what that means for folks who maybe aren't familiar with that term. In the North American market, I made the strategic decision to partner with companies like OrionOne, who have a robust technical delivery arm and services model where they can provide not only a technical component, but also have the manpower to provide the services, which are so important to a successful implementation of a project like this. And so, what the way that this flow works, and I'm not speaking to you, I'm just speaking more to our audience for a moment. But if an enterprise reaches out, I'm going to speak to them, try to identify what their needs are. If they have a highly sophisticated supply chain and they're looking for a logistics solution, I'm going to reach out to Tommy, have an initial conversation with him and his team so that we can determine what the needs are. And assuming that that's the right fit, then the client can work directly with OrionOne and start to build that relationship. And because of the way that OrionOne is designed, the integration, they can either work directly with OrionOne and run on their smart contract, or they can flip a switch and activate their own smart contract, still using the OrionOne software, but they would get a unique address on the VeChain blockchain that's uniquely theirs. And for everyone that likes to do address hunting on the blockchain, and this hopefully will pay some fun treasure hunting in the future. But the relationship from a professional services perspective is owned by Tommy and his team at OrionOne, and VeChain is providing that infrastructure layer either directly or indirectly. And what I really love about this is it allows us to scale. It allows us to work with a variety of partners and to find the right partner for the right business need. And because OrionOne has so much flexibility, there's a lot of ability for us to service a very wide variety of clients and capabilities. Tommy, I'm curious, we've spoken a lot about the technical capabilities and about the relationship and how we work. Maybe we could just pivot to the community for a second. What do you think that our relationship means for them, for the folks at home that are VET holders, or they're actively following all of our technical developments around the world? What kind of an impact do you think that our relationship will have on them?
That's a great question. And as a VET holder myself and somebody who is very active in DeFi and loves just the world of crypto and blockchain communities in general, I think there's a lot to be said here. First and foremost, it's the number of transactions that we aim to put on chain. So, in a typical shipment, if you look at all of the milestones across the workflow, you've got everything starting from, the booking, and then it goes from booking into en route. And then from en route, it goes to the end, which is ultimately completed and delivered. And there's various milestones in the middle of that a company can elect to write on chain. But if you just look at every single shipment, at bare minimum, you're going to want to have 3 milestones written on chain. So that's 3 transactions. And so if you've got one organization that runs, let's just say they run 5 lanes a day and each lane has 5 stops. Well, that's 5 times 3, 15 transactions. So you've got the ability for, just simple math there. We've got an ability to impact the volume of transactions considerably. And then from that, as we continue to scale with feature sets and things like that we end up adding to the platform, inventory management, lab testing as we bring on other partners or partners we already have on Orion, we're going to be also onboarding VeChain into their implementation and their modules as well. So, you've got the same thing as far as like inbound inventory, outbound inventory, all of the history behind the product, documents that get stored on chain, etc. So hopefully the number is pretty impactful for us as a community.
Tommy, you just alluded to some of the future functionality. Is there anything else that you can elaborate on? Anything that's coming down the pipeline that maybe we should keep an eye out for?
Yeah, the future looks bright as it pertains to what we're doing specifically with VeChain, but as well as enhancements to our system. We're building out a lot of capabilities to further support more of the FTL and LTL needs at the trucking level because, approximately 85% of all domestic shipments occur with small to medium-sized trucking companies here in the US. So for us, we want to make sure that we are dialed for those folks. they're able to use the system now. And we've got some really big successes with folks like AI Logistics, etc. Great partner who has been able to see a tremendous amount of impact by adopting our platform and the number of lanes that they're able to manage for a large scale home construction company here in the US. And they're further expanding their operations to larger scale automotive manufacturers. And so again, a lot of features there to support those kind of businesses. But then also you've got NFTs. We're working now that VeChain has a really solid NFT offering. We're looking to adopt that there, especially around some of the signing and some of the things like this. And then also, when we're talking about further tokenization and adoption of payment mechanisms around our platform, that's another place that we're going to be spending a lot of time harnessing and then doing further integrations outward for AR systems and things like this, AP systems and whatnot.
Well, thank you, Tommy. I really appreciate you spending some time with us today to tell the public a little bit more about our relationship and what makes it tick. I'm so excited about all the capabilities that you and your team and your software are bringing to the table, and really looking forward to where our partnership goes from here. For the folks at home, if you are listening in and you want more information from either VeChain or OrionOne, feel free to send us an email. You can reach out to me at BD, business development, BD at VeChain.com, or you can reach Tommy at connect@orionone.co.
Jason, thank you so much. And before you go, just wanted to say a few other pieces. Again, thank you everybody for taking the time today. We're honored to be the first VAR here in North America, specifically around supply chain and logistics. So keep an eye out for more things to come from VeChain and us. I know that we've got a lot of AMAs and some fun things planned as we continue to tell the story and help push the narrative around how we're changing supply chain together. And then in addition to that, when you visit our website, OrionOne.co, again, we keep it very simple. Feel free to reach out. We've got tons of people on hand all the time to answer any of your questions. So please do not hesitate. And we look forward to hearing from you guys. Take care.
Thank you, everyone, and talk to you soon.